everyone, Amy here. Today is my last vlog before NaNoWrimo starts. So I hope you all are ready and prepared and have everything written that you want to write. Today I'm going to talk about scene sequence. I know I usually say in all these vlogs that, oh, I finished my scene sequence, so I did for my scene sequences, and I'm sure a lot of you are confused and wondering what the heck do I mean by scene sequence. Probably a lot of you already know what scene is and are wondering about the sequence part. So let me just show you kind of what it is and what it's about and what, how I got to deciding that that was the correct way to write an outline. Last year, my writers group had a writer class, and it was with a bunch of romance writers, and it was all talking about making sure your characters have an emotional impact. And what better person, what better group of writers to have teach character emotion class than a bunch of romance writers, because really that's the honestly the only thing they do in those books. Not really. I think they, out of all the writers out there, understand emotional impact more than, say a fantasy writer, perhaps. And that's when Kate Baldwin started talking about scene sequence, and we did a few of them, and oh my, they were so hard the first time. And I took it home and I started using it for my story because she gave us a copy and says, personally we can use as much as we can, but we can't obviously share them with everybody, because she kind of made up her own thing with it. She started talking about how scene sequence started with Dwight Swain, and then his student Jack Bickham started to kind of simplify it a bit more. So my turns kind of look like this. I added a few things and I simplified it kind of a bit for me out of the out of the Caitlin's kind of simplified story of it. But basically there are two parts to every scene. There's a scene and then a sequence. The scene starts off with let's just kind of get it all together. So for every scene there's a goal, conflict, and disaster. The goal is what your character wants to do. The conflict is the small thing that kind of starts to throw your character off balance, and disaster is the big problem that makes them not complete their goal. So for example, one of the very first chapters of my story, my character now wants to figure out what this business card means, because it's all in Korean and he's Japanese, so he doesn't understand a single bit of it because he'd never bothered to learn Korean. So he's going to ask Sakai, who's this businessman, if he's seen this business card around. So the goal is to find out what this business card means. The conflict is he goes to the office where he used to be, and Sakai's not in that office anymore. So that's the small conflict that throws my character off track. Now the disaster happens when he finds Sakai's office and Sakai won't see him at all. He tells him to go away. So that is in direct conflict with what my character's goal was to be, which was to get the card, and the disaster is when the person who he's going to see about the card says go away. That completely throws him off and there's nothing about it. So according to the people, the second half of that scene would be called the sequel. The sequel deals with the reaction, the dilemma, and the decision. The reaction is how your character reacts to the disaster that happened. The dilemma is kind of the choices they have to do, and then the decision is what they choose to do and what they're left with. So for my example that I was using, the reaction would be, he tells the secretary that was there that Sakai was just joking and he'll just stay. Dilemma would be, he has to either wait there all day, he can just go barge right in there to the office, he can ask somebody else what the card is about, he could just come back later. There's all these decisions he could make. And then I have to choose the one that makes the most sense for that character and that situation. And for me, it made sense for that character to wait instead of just barging in, which would technically be more of a conflict, but it's not in that character's kind of mode at that early stage to have that kind of go-get-emness. And then what I have is that decision that was made immediately reflects on the next scene. And what Katie did or Caitlin, I'm sorry, what Caitlin did was really focus on a little bit more about the emotion. What is your character's mood at the beginning and what is it at the end? So the mood at the beginning should be different than the mood at the end. This has changed really how I write my outline. I had to change a lot of outline things because before, you know, so now would just go to Sakai and say, here's this card, what does it mean? And Sakai would just tell him. And, you know, that's good, that's fine, that's what probably would happen in real life, but you're writing fiction, and fiction needs to be more interesting in real life. Everybody has to be exaggerated. So, you know, writing this out, and when it gets to the, you know, but there's a conflict, and you go, well, there isn't a conflict. He goes and he answers. You immediately want to change it and make it a conflict. That way it keeps the story going, it keeps it more. So this is a, you know, excellent example. I know I kind of rushed through it a bit because I just did. I'll put some links below with more kind of detailed information about it, just in case you're wondering about it. As for the nano front for me goes, I finished all my student sequels. They're all done. And I admit, towards the end, I got really tired of doing them. But I did do them all, even though some of them could be a lot better. Usually I can do about 4 of them. And then by the 4th one, I'm kind of dying and I don't care. So maybe I could say I do 3 of them really well and I do the 4th one really kind of every day. And that helped me to get it. So I know exactly where my plot's going in every story. And then I also finished reading my outline. I reread it once and then I added some more notes. To me, my student sequels kind of tell me the very basic bones of what's happening in that chapter, what the main conflict is in that chapter, but my outline has more details. It has, you know, things that have to be mentioned, like for here, it talks about how there's a smoking fine inside Sehun's wallet, and that becomes kind of something that repeats later on. So my student sequence wouldn't mention that he finds a cigarette violation, because that would just be kind of, that's not a conflict. That has nothing to do with the conflict of the scene, but it does have something that needs to be repeated throughout the story. So I keep those things on my outline. Oh, did I take out my whole outline? I did. So, what else? Yeah, I finished reading the Yakuza Moon book and Macarons at Midnight, and I started reading the Kawabata book, which is so nice and refreshing. So I finished reading those. I have a good scene about, I think the Yakuza Moon book really helped me understand like more how I want the side characters to behave, and kind of its attitude. The attitude. Give me a good view of the attitude of most of the characters that were major players. My major players already got their attitudes down, but my minor characters, which are minor and don't need to have that much time spent on them, that gone is done. I did a few character charts. I should probably do a few more, but I haven't, and I don't think I will. Today I'm probably just going to reread my outline and make a few more changes and add a few more details here and there that I want to add, and get lots of rest for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm actually seeing an opera. I'm seeing the Marriage of Figaro, so I'm excited. I planned that a long time ago, and my friend that moved away is coming back, so I'm going to spend some time with her. And I'm going to write. My best advice is to jump ahead. So if you're doing that, that would be fun and awesome to do. So that's all I'm doing. That's my NaNoWriMo vlog. If you are doing NaNoWriMo, tell me. I'd like to hear what kind of stories you're writing. You can add me. I'm under the same username as I am here. And we can be writing buddies and kind of encourage each other through the hardship of, you know, once you get to the 30 word count, the 30,000 word count, you're kind of dragging there and you're like, I can help you through it. Maybe. Together we can help each other through it. So, until next time, bye-bye. I don't know if I'm going to vlog every day in November. I know for sure that I might not do it as much on the weekend because I like to stay in my pajamas unless I'm going out. So if I'm going out, I might not just, I might do it, but I'm not sure. So maybe expect at least a few vlogs in November. I know what, I should just go for it. I'm going to try to vlog every weekday. vlogging every weekday for NaNoWriMo. It seems fun. I'll talk about the previous day. So, you know, November 1st, I'll talk about it on November 2nd and then upload it that way. Because I'm not going to film at midnight, because I usually don't go to bed at midnight. I usually go to bed at 11. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm trying to make sure I get all the sleep I need.